Hi YouTube fans and friends, it's Kat this October 5th, 2020 with the Kaffeeklatsch Corner, and it's the first Kaffeeklatsch Corner I'm doing. Dun 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 dun! Grab your cup of joe or whatever beverage you prefer to drink and let's talk. For today's Kaffeeklatsch with Kat, what I wanted to do was sharing a pet peeve and overcoming a fear. This morning when I went to go get my coffee, I noticed a car wash I hadn't noticed before, right by the bagel place. And out here in California right now, we have the results of the fire where her cars are covered in soot and ash and ick. So I decided to pay for the best car wash, and I went and parked my car through, and I'm driving up, and I went through the wash, and as I get through to the dryer station, I was like, oh, cool. It had a 70-second countdown. So, I have two pet peeves about this car wash story. The first one is when car washes don't have a countdown, and you go through, and you have no idea how long it's going to take you to fully have your car exit before the dryer stops. And the second pet peeve was I had 70 seconds, so I'm pacing my car, I'm slowly driving through it, I'm stopping at certain points where I don't want it more dry. It gets down to the 45, 43 second count, and vroom, it just stops. And I'm like, no, I thought I had 35 more seconds. Oh my gosh, I was banking on that 35 to dry the rest of the car. Anyways, is it a huge ordeal, a life catastrophe ordeal? No, but this is about a pet peeve, and most pet peeves aren't, right? So I decided not to go in and talk to the cashier. What is the cashier going to do, right? Not credit me for a whole car wash just for the dryer. I did the adult mature thing, and I was like, no. I was thinking, Kat, you got to choose what you're going to advocate and assert for. This is not that big of a deal. And so I drove it around and drove it, and here I'm smiling about it, laughing about it, making a video about it, so it couldn't be that bad. But how this merges into overcoming a fear is that when I was a little girl, I developed a fear of car washes, which transferred into my young adulthood. And so when my children were little, especially as I became a single mom, I took it upon myself to conquer the fear. And oftentimes conquering the fear, if it's a fear that doesn't have to do about, like some fears you don't want to go out and do because there's something that might be dangerous, but this is a fear that wasn't dangerous. So how to overconquer those fears is to make yourself or take steps to go out and do it. And so what I would do was I would look for car washes all over the Bay Area, or when we went on vacation, and I would purposefully make them fun for the boys, and we would go in, and I would say, okay, mom's going to go in this car wash, and I'm going to overcome this fear, and they would laugh at me like, Mom, I don't understand why. It's like, it doesn't matter, I have it, let's do it, and so as adults, they still laugh that it was something I used to have a fear of, and it was a perfect example for them of something I overcame because I can go through car washes now without gripping the handles and my knuckles turning white, right? So, however, there is a type of car wash that I still know. It's like, get away! So I can go through regular car washes, but I still do not like the car washes that have the automatic side grill. Looks almost like a gutter, and you put your car wheel through it, and most of them I've ever seen are yellow, and it literally, your tire is locked in it, and it pulls you along through the wash. And I am like, stay and steer clear of those. Well, if you're watching this and if you live in the Bay Area, there is one in Marin, California at the Chevron in San Rafael, right off 101. And one day I went and got my car washed there, and I didn't see the grill. Usually I can drive around and see the grill, and I choose not to go into those. This one I didn't see. So I go and I walk in, I pay, I get my number, I go back into the line, and now there's cars behind me, and by the time I go up and it's my turn, I see the grill that I have to somehow maneuver my tire on. So I'm holding the steering wheel and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there's all these cars behind me, and I felt the pressure. and I began to sweat. And so I did it though. I decided not to get out of line, not to do it, and made my car and leveled it so it would go through it. But man, I did get white knuckled, and my sweat back then of, clear sweat felt like blood dripping. I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to get through that wash. Anyways, how do you overcome a fear? How you overcome a fear often is how I spoke. Like, if you can do the fear to overcome, I mean, it'd be different, for instance, if you had a fear about, let's say being robbed or being burglarized and couldn't sleep. You wouldn't want to overcome that by having a staged event. But for a fear like this, where it's no safety involved as far as putting your life or anyone else's life at risk, then going out and doing it, or taking baby steps and making little goals, is a good way to overcome and to conquer fears. And it's just funny, just the idiosyncrasies of life and the things we go through, and just the little variance we have as human beings and our personalities. But I challenge you to look at a fear that you have, and where did your fear come from, and make little steps to overcome it. If it's something you want to work on, and something, if you're a parent or going to be a parent in the future and you don't want to pass down to your kids, I think it was great for my children to see me overcoming that. So when they're adults, they can overcome it. I know I got that fear myself from my own mother. As a little kid in the back seat, I didn't have a choice about being the car wash. I remember my dad driving through and my mom not being calm as we entered the wash. I don't know if she still has that fear today, but as a kid, I experienced that behavior with her in shotgun. And so think, of me and my siblings, a child in the back seat, where we're like, Mom's freaking out. You know? So I challenge yourself, like I said before, look at your fears, look at your pet peeves, see how realistic, non-realistic these things are. And the pet peeves actually are kind of funny, right? Some of them are just like, oh my gosh, and you can just let it go, as I did this. But I had one I didn't even know was a pet peeve. But yes, the countdown. And please, let's have our time that we've earned in paying for that car wash and the dryer. All right, guys. I would love for this to be a community bridge as my program grows, where we share in the dialogue box, and feel free to let me know your pet peeves that you have and your fears. And as a community, and as my number and subscribers grow, we can merge and talk and share and give each other ideas. Thank you for everybody who subscribed. Take care out there and be as safe as possible, guys. All right. Bye for now.